Hello and welcome to the Studley Boys YouTube channel. I'm Chrisora and today you are here for oh thank God I am recording. Today we're going to talk about Nintendo. We love Nintendo here at the Studley Boys, don't we, BoyZ?
Yes.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
We love them.
We love Nintendo, so welcome to the Nintendo rant. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, click down in the doobly-doo. Love you.
Lee, what happened with Nintendo this week?
Nintendo came and showcased their Nintendo OLED. It's just completely not what we saw coming. The internet hyped it, to be honest with you, because they were selective with what Nintendo had said. But when it comes to the internet, they ran a bit wild with what's possible. All they gave us was just a shinier OLED screen.
Yeah, we'll pop up with a little meme as well. But everyone wanted that 4K, not just 4K, but also maybe fixing the controller drift, basically fixing their original stuff. But from what we found out is OLED screen or whatever, it uses the same Joy-Cons from the previous. Means in that regard, though that controller drift is still going to exist with the new OLED.
The thing is, and I've seen people. There's a great video by what's his name, Chris Dillon. Put up this clip.
So this is the Nintendo Switch right now, right? Okay, what I did was I took the screen and I made it bigger. Okay, and what? Oh no! I made the screen bigger. I put in a new display and a kickstand, and I just you know. This is what you came up with? I gave you a year heads up to design something new and come up with. You just made the screen bigger? What do you want me to do? I added an Ethernet port to the dock. You wanted more? You wanted me to put a whole graphics card in there with more RAM, so like everybody with the same Switch just connect to the new dock so they could get more power out of their games and more performance and all that. That's what you wanted? You did not convey any of that to me. That's common sense. Oh my God, that's common sense. When I ask you to make a new Nintendo Switch and like make it like the Pro, like the PlayStation 4 Pro, you're supposed to know to do that shit. Well, I'm sorry. It's done. Okay? There's nothing we can do about it now. Like maybe next time around. How are we gonna last for years to come if all we do is just upgrade the screen? Like we don't put any power into the system. So we don't divide our player base, because if we give them a new model with upgraded specs, what about the people beforehand? Like it makes sense. Like why'd you even give me a year? I did this shit in like 2 hours. We're ruined. How? Literally, you had one job.
Because it's fucking brilliant, and it's these black bars at the edge. They've just made those smaller.
Like, I thought it was alright when I heard,
we talked about that in the reaction as well. Like, we did a reaction video, and I was telling Liam about this. What they probably did is just make those black bars smaller, and that's exactly what they did.
Yeah.
I think the original screen size on that was a 6.2.
Yeah, exactly.
And then, so they increased it to 7, to the full 7, and it really is not that dramatically different.
Yeah. Like, I heard it was 7-inch, and I thought, oh, that's like pretty substantial. And then I hear, oh, the original is like 6.5 or something. It's barely any different.
No, 6.2. Yeah, barely even different. Yeah, but instead of an LED, is an OLED. You know, and then there's some people that was feel kind of nostalgia because obviously the Vita had the OLED screen, and this is like back in 10 years ago. I don't even know when the Vita was out.
2011, isn't it?
Yeah.
Also, not to say you're a liar, Talos, but Google tells me the Switch screen is 6.62 inch.
Okay. So yeah, even worse than my
Yeah, even worse.
6.6.
Barely any different.
Yeah.
And they're saying it's like a $50 extra cost now. I think the original Switch was like $299, I think, maybe 300 something. Now it's like $349.
Wow. Technically, it is actually more than the 50 because the Switch price. Well, it probably hasn't gone down, but by now in the console's life cycle, the price is supposed to have dropped.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure you could source it cheap.
You would think.
You would think. So
realistically, the old Switch should be $250, with the new Switch being the $299 price.
Yeah.
To stay competitive.
Nintendo like that green. The other thing I think, so when you undock your Switch, you know, the graphic power is reduced.
Yes.
That's why the games look so much better on TV. and they will look worse when they're docked. But the old screen, because it's not an OLED, it kind of masks how much worse that they kind of look. When you have a better looking screen, the games are actually... I think the games are going to just look worse on it because you're going to see way more of the faults that don't look as good anymore. It's going to highlight that way more, whereas a regular screen doesn't.
Just for comparison, right? You can get an Xbox Series X for €300. Whereas, oh my god, GameStop's blasting me with ads. Whereas the Switch OLED costs $364.
It costs more than a Series X.
A good bit more.
Yeah.
Wow. I think a Series S at least it's is it 4K?
I don't think
that one's not 4K.
Yeah.
But it does have Game Pass, and it is like technically a next gen system.
It's a next gen system, and it's completely backwards compatible with everything. It's kind of the budget version of the Series X, so it doesn't have the 4K, but it makes up for that, and that will play the newer game. It's got Game Pass in all these generations of games. And we will talk about how Nintendo handles older games in one of the next stories we have. That's another thing to keep in mind.
Before we get there, though, real quick on the actual design of it. Obviously, we've been kind of shitting on it a little bit, but I think the way it looks kind of nice. It's like a lot more curvier.
Yeah.
Can you show me?
I think the black and white looks quite nice.
Yeah, the black and white does actually look.
I'm someone who doesn't have a Switch, by the way, and I've been off and on interested in one, and so I was interested in the Switch Pro when I heard about it, but I wasn't keeping up with the hype and all the the expectations. So I feel like I wasn't overhyped for it, and I was still kind of like, that's it.
Yeah.
Like it's not more powerful at all. Like I didn't expect when I heard people expected 4K, I thought that was kind of silly because like the Series S doesn't even do 4K.
But the thing is, the bloody thing doesn't even do 1080p. It does 720p.
Well, 720 on the handheld.
But still, like, it's an OLED screen. Come on. It's 2021, lad.
I'm sure the screen will look very nice in person, though, like the OLED upgrade.
Yeah, the only way to really know is to get our hands on it and do a review on it potentially. We'll try and grab it here.
But the thing is, Sony did this a decade ago.
Yeah. I thought the Switch Pro would have been an easy sale to me, and I have no interest in getting it. They kind of dropped the ball for sure. It would have been free by now.
Yeah.
And you just have.
Wait, what?
Oh, we're just complaining about the prices in the Nintendo store. The fact that like Breath of the Wild is still like €60, whereas if that was
hang on, Breath of the Wild I think is more expensive. That was Skyward Sword HD.
Oh, that was Skyward Sword.
Yeah, that was in Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild is 70. And the expansion pass is 20.
Includes the DLC.
€70.
Yeah, and it's 20 then for the DLC.
The thing is, right, if that was an Xbox or a PlayStation game, it would have been free by now. And it would be like $20 in the store. Yeah. And keep in mind, that's not actually a Switch exclusive. You can get a Wii U for like $200 probably. Yeah. And play Breath of the Wild on that.
And I talked about this before when there was all the hype about Sephiroth, and we planned to do... We had planned to do Smash Bros. Streams that never occurred. And I got Smash Bros. This game came out 2018. And I got that, and I got the DLC with Sephiroth. How much do you think I spent on a 3-year-old game? Because on a regular system, you would think, he probably spent like 60.
If you want like the blockbusters of 2018, I mean, we're fucking the Call of Duty game that came out that year. We just got that on PS Plus like for this month. I mean, they hand those games out, but not Nintendo.
I mean, we were talking about Death Stranding earlier. Death Stranding, the remaster on PS5, like if you don't have the game at all, is $50. That's a game that came out 2 years ago, and this is already a remaster of it. I got Smash Brothers and the DLC, and it cost me over €100.
Jesus.
That is insane.
Damn.
Like,
no.
You can also say that with the Pokemon titles as well. They're still full price.
Yeah.
They're still full price.
Bullshit. Like, and people are always like to me, like, why don't you get this game? Why don't you get this game? I'm like, that game came out a year ago. I'm not paying full price for it. The price should have dropped.
I might just get a Wii U and play Breath of the Wild.
This is our segue into Nintendo's horrible practices with their old titles.
Yeah, not only that, but also their ROM titles as well. If you want to buy any old Nintendo titles or play them on the ROM site, there's one ROM website called ROM Universe back in May, I believe.
Didn't they kill Emu Paradise? Isn't that one of the ones they
That was
killed?
that was another one. That was another one.
There was one Nintendo killed, yeah.
Yeah, but this is
they've been
another
gone
one
for-
that they got down called Rom Universe, and apparently it was a $2 million lawsuit, and apparently they allegedly missed their first payment. According to this, in the original case, Nintendo has brought more than $15 million in damages for copyright and trademark infringement.
Damages my ass.
But the U.S. District Court judge ruled that Rom Universe owners should pay a much smaller amount, but
Boomer judge.
that smaller amount is still quite a hefty price.
All people are doing with emulating, you are keeping these old games
Yeah.
that aren't sold in store shelves
Like,
at all
like
alive.
game piracy. I like never pirate new games, but game piracy is so crucial for like preservation.
Mm-hmm.
It's vitally important if you care about old games at all.
Yeah.
And it's like it's these people who like people design these emulators and like rip these ROMs perfectly. Like you're gonna be able to play every Nintendo game at any point in the future because of these people, and Nintendo just want to shit on them. Also, I just remembered a Eurogamer article from 2017, right? So when you rip a ROM, that ROM has kind of a unique fingerprint. So if you rip the same cartridge even, it's going to be slightly different when you like analyze the code of it. So people got a hold of the files that Nintendo were selling and compared them to the ones on the site. It turned out they were selling a ROM that was literally ripped off one of these websites that they then put up on their own store.
I remember this.
Ooh,
So
yeah.
It's
I
like
remember this.
the emulation guys are literally doing all of the effort here. They're the only ones that actually care about these old games, and Nintendo are just like, oh, we bit of profit high.
And like, what's so disgusting about it is, so like, one, you're keeping these old games alive, but also like the new generation. Like, what 10-year-old is gonna go out and have an NES? They're not gonna have it.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to introduce your little cousin to the old Mario, something like that.
Yeah, can you look up the original Mario in the Nintendo store there and see what they're charging?
Well, the thing is, Nintendo's wonderful subscription service, their version of Game Pass, is actually quite amazing.
Yeah.
You pay, I think it's like $20 a year. That's a good price.
Yeah.
It's a real good
Yeah, it's
price.
decent, yeah.
Yeah, you know, with like PlayStation, you get the free games a month. You've got PlayStation Now, where you've got like hundreds of titles. You got Game Pass, where you've got hundreds of titles across the decades. Nintendo are so kind to give you.
Yeah, what's really cool about Game Pass, I always shill for Game Pass, but what's cool about it is they go all the way back, right? Morrowind came to Game Pass like a month ago, and if you play it on your Xbox, like it's the original Xbox version, but if you play it on your new Xbox, it's upscaled to 4K. They've gone back and like future-proofed Morrowind. How cool is that? Nintendo wouldn't do that.
That's pretty cool.
No, but they're so good in that they have the NES and it has all the old games. Well, it doesn't have all the old games on it.
Yeah,
It
it
has
just has like a random little set,
A
right?
random little set of old games, and right now it's broken on me. It doesn't work.
Like
so.
there's so many NES games that would be functionally unplayable and completely forgotten if not for these people. Like you can go onto certain websites and download a pack of all NES games, and the entire library is there. That's incredible.
Yeah, and they've only got Nintendo Entertainment System and Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
Doesn't account for Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance.
So orange.
A lot of titles.
Yeah, there's so
yeah,
many.
yeah. Oh man, think of all like the big expanse that is the Game Boy libraries, and no one would be able to play those games anymore.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Yeah,
10,
just lost in time.
Do you guys not remember the SNES Mini and the PlayStation Mini, where they just preloaded a bunch of select games onto a mini emulator of the console and officially sold
Well,
them?
yeah. NES did that too. NES Mini, SNES Mini as well.
Those were
And
like
it was only like 20, 25 titles maybe.
There's 47 Super Nintendo games. I'm going to see how many NES games there are. But 47 is a pathetic
can
number.
you purchase these if you don't have the subscription?
No, you need the subscription.
Really? So you can't even purchase. I remember back in the day, even on the Wii, right? They wanted to charge like €7 for the original Mario. And even back then, I was like, that is bananas. That's ridiculous. That should be like $1 at most.
One of the cool things I will say about this, let's give them one bit of credit. Old like games that didn't come to the West, but I don't think they've translated them. And yet you can get the fan translated ROM. So again, like there's games like Final Fantasy 3, is it? That like never had an official.
Hang on. Is this a real claim? They take fan translated ROMs and sell them?
No, I don't think they actually use the fan translation.
Okay.
I think they just sell the Japanese version, which is like for RPGs,
Yeah.
which is what this is. What's the
The
point?
SNES Mini, by the way, I think that was the first time Earthbound was released in like Europe.
According to this article, there's 58 NES titles and 46 SNES titles.
That's pathetic. For some weeks, they didn't release for the West, but they did for Japan because they were like, "Oh,
yeah.
this game would be unplayable in English." You know,
It would be entirely doable for them to be like, okay, you get the entire library of the NES, SNES, N64, those minimum, and then some GameCube. Like, they could do that, and they would get all my money. They'd choose not to. Sony kind of dropped the ball as well with backward compatibility, but Microsoft is absolute top of the game in that category right now. Like, you can
they definitely are.
You can get an original, like, 2001 or whatever Xbox, an Xbox 360, an Xbox One, and then a Series X. And you can get, like, LAN cables and hook them all up and put an original Halo disc into each one. And it actually works. And you can have a local LAN party across these, 4 generations?
yeah.
And it actually works.
There's 73 games on this, which means that out of the SNES and the NES, there's 120 titles, which is not even close to the amount of games that were released on those systems.
Oh yeah, not even close.
I mean, do you think the reason behind that is because their titles are just not big enough names, or maybe they lost the license for them,
716
or what?
I don't know. There's issues with licensing and stuff as well.
Oh, yeah.
And we've talked about this. Is Square released all of the Final Fantasies on Game Pass, right? Released every Final Fantasy, all the old school ones. Why the fuck aren't any of the old school ones on here? Why are Nintendo
good point.
so unwilling to strike up a deal with them to be here?
Yeah.
How can Microsoft do that? And I do think actually they have the old Final Fantasies on here. And I'm pretty sure the prices are probably ridiculous. So let's have a wee look.
Yeah, I kind of fundamentally don't get the appeal of paying for an NES game when there are in-browser emulators that you can just have be playing on anything.
Big time.
You can be playing any NES game within about 10 seconds.
Are you able to bring up the PlayStation Store? It's a weird route to go with this, but it just shows why these ROM sites are actually kind of doing the good thing and why Nintendo are just taking the wrong step for money.
I understand emulation is a bit morally
We'll go
dodgy.
10 2.
Yeah, I think what we're trying to get at is here, the old school games that came out 20 years ago, whatever, plus,
29.99.
actually, definitely more plus now, probably 30 years now, we're talking now. I understand those titles, we feel like those, it preserves the legacy of those games and so people know about them. Where, obviously, if you're modern titles that just come out right now, of course, that is, of course, illegal.
Yeah.
A lot of
you want to support the publishers and developers that are happening right now, but in terms of old games back in 30, 40 years ago, at a certain point, it feels it's okay to have a ROM of them or available on that web browser. I don't know. Obviously, it's a very touchy subject for a lot of people, but I don't know.
Do you guys ever remember Mirror's Edge, where they had an anti-piracy policy where the first jump you never made?
In Batman Arkham, whenever you tried to use the glide, his cape would immediately close and you just drop in the pirated version.
And I don't think even modern games do that anymore. They have a pirate version, but I always thought that was kind of a nifty little way to prevent people from stealing your titles.
So a lot of good developers got their start with emulating and messing with ROMs and stuff. That's how Toby Fox, the Undertale developer, got started.
But I was going to say there, Final Fantasy X 10-2 Remastered is €30 on PlayStation.
And it will be on sale all the time.
It'll be on sale all the time. It is $50 on the Nintendo Switch.
Why?
50, and that probably rarely goes on sale.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Final Fantasy
That's a
9
big difference.
is €21. Final Fantasy fucking 9.
And it's ROMs and emulation. Obviously, there's a shady aspect to it, but ultimately, in the grand scope of what the ROM people are doing and what Nintendo was doing the worst thing, I think.
Yeah, because the wrong people, at the end of the day, they are keeping old games alive.
Yeah, they are enthusiasts. They're the biggest fans.
Yeah, they're the biggest fans. They're keeping the old games alive, and they're also, like you said, preserving history. There's games look at Crisis Core.
If you were to recommend someone Crisis Core, as we often try to,
Yeah,
it's oh yeah, you gotta play this game. It's oh great. what do we play on? Oh, you gotta buy a PSP. I was like, have you guys tried to play a PSP lately? It's got like a pathetically tiny screen compared to modern phones. It's tough to
It's got a really bad analog stick.
It is tough to go back to a PSP.
Yeah.
Or you can play it basically in HD on any computer.
Yeah.
I was like,
and use your PS5 controller.
Yeah. It's like one of those is a bit more appealing, I think.
Yeah.
Let us know in the comments down below how you guys feel about ROMs in general, or like Nintendo's practices. Comes down below.
Even look at
Pokemon
Stadium. Look at Pokemon Stadium. There's a Nintendo title straight for you. Or like anything on the N64. Apart from that, there's the Mario 64 game, or there's Mario 64, and they did
do a trilogy for that.
They did a trilogy, but it was only limitedly available until.
Oh, that never came out properly.
No, it came out from September to February, and if you didn't get it in that time, you could never get it again.
What is the point of that?
They did limited physical copies, and then the digital one as well. It was like, no, we'll just wipe it.
Yeah, you can't find a digital store anymore. I tried looking.
Hang on. They wiped the first party game from their own store.
Yeah, no, they announced that with it. They were like, oh, we'll give you this really cool Mario collection.
I don't get it.
People thought they were joking too. No, they'll be back.
Yeah.
No, Nintendo doesn't joke.
No, to do the superficial thing of buy it now, or else you will never be able to get this collect again.
That's so dumb.
Yeah.
So you cannot get Mario Sunshine, you can't get Galaxy or 64 on the Switch anymore.
I did buy one too, by the way.
Oh.
But still, that is messed up. I heard rumors too. I'm not sure if it's true or not. But going back into that Mario 64 thing, wasn't that like a ROM anyway that they just added into like a disc version to resell?
Yeah. People found it was just because wasn't it when people got the game, it just gave you to the store to download it. Like the games weren't actually even on the cartridge.
I remember reading about that like a while back. I'm not sure if it's true or not. Apparently, those games were ROMs originally. But they were basically put onto a disc that people had to download.
Yeah. There's like an emulator that's like actually comes with it, that because like people found that out with like Sunshine and stuff like that. Like they just remapped the controls. They just used this emulator that had the controls remapped. So ridiculous.
Obviously, you can always fact check us in the comments, but I believe that's how it was.
Yeah.
But so another thing with Nintendo is crazy.
That's been a half an hour of complaining about Nintendo. Please leave your hate comments.
I have another Nintendo complaint. Did you guys hear about that Metroid 2 fan remake that kind of came out recently? And it was totally like they'd been making it in secret for like 2.5 years or something. And then it's like, oh, they quickly threw it out. And it's like, here it is, quick, grab it. And it's like, it's such a shame they have to act like that when these people are obviously like the biggest, most effortful fans of Metroid 2 and have to act like they're criminals for making a passion project.
Yeah. There's
ridiculous.
The Kingdom Hearts 2 Unreal Engine 4 remake. Hey, I've managed to get Kingdom Hearts into another video. This is great. But those guys, they're doing it so publicly where they're posting development videos on Twitter of how like they're building each world. Like it's literally amazing because you're seeing this whole game be made right before your eyes. This was like a year and a bit ago when I heard about them and joined their Discord server. There was this whole thing of everyone being like, oh yeah, Square and Disney are going to shut this down. Square and Disney are going to shut this down. Mm-hmm. We're over a year on, and they've been very public about it. Square have been at it on Twitter, I'm pretty sure. They're still making the game.
You have to be kind of mental to think a fan remake will actually, like, seriously infringe on sales for a game that's 25 years old. It's like only the biggest enthusiasts who have already probably bought the game and played it are going to be into that kind of project.
Yeah.
I guess we'll never know. There'll always be a thing with Nintendo.
Be sure to let us know what you think in the comments below. We hope you've enjoyed the little review of a select list. We hope you join us for the next episode. I've been Liam.
I've been Chris.
I've been Peter. This has been the Rage Quitter.
I've been Rage Quit Rebecca.
Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Do all the diddly doos down below.
Hack the algorithm.
Yeah.
Do it.
Do it. Bye.
Peace.
We'll be right back.